Welcome back, guys. Hope you had a nice cup of coffee, a cigarette. Let's get stuck in. So we're looking at denial addiction mechanisms continued. Addiction denial mechanisms continued. I think they both work. Intellectualizing or generalizing. What we'll do with intellectualizing is we'll keep it all in here. We might even go so far as to do lots of research and get lots of terminology and use that to baffle and confuse and misdirect and divert and generalizing is we'll never get specific about anything. Okay, and if you're not prepared to get specific about your problem, it's just going to remain a generalized, vague, out there, helicopter view problem. We're doing step work now. This is about the 12 steps. It's about a much, much deeper level of self-honesty. Comparing, judging speaks for itself. We compare ourselves to other people that are worse off than us to paint or frame ourselves as not that bad. Yeah? Illuminations of Understandings, or IOUs. This is a colonism. And basically what this is, and we see this happen in treatment a lot, and we see this happen in step one a lot. Illuminations of Understandings are aha moments, light bulb moments. Okay, we hear something that's, wow, and sometimes it can feel so, it's so profound it can feel like a spiritual awakening. It's not a spiritual awakening, it's just an IOU, and there's going to be lots of them through your process. The danger of them, though, is that we can use them to reactivate our denial or go back into denial. We're sitting in treatment, maybe for the first time, we're doing step work, maybe for the first time, and we hear something that's profound, and it's like, that's where I went wrong. I just won't do that anymore and everything will be fine. Boom, back into denial. And from that point onwards, then it becomes a dishonest program because we've gone into compliance. We've gone into chameleon mode now. We've subconsciously decided that we understand what the problem is and we're just not going to do that anymore. We're going to be fine, but we've still got to, keep everybody back home happy. So we'll finish the program. Many people will relapse or start. This is the start of many people's relapse is IOUs. Everything is okay now that everything is okay. I come into treatment. I'm detoxed. I'm eating three regular meals a day. I've got structure. I'm probably going to the gym. I'm getting fit again. I haven't felt this good in a long time. Okay? And I judge myself in that space. I've not felt this good in years. And again, we can see this can be a reactivation of denial. Often people will leave in this space. They'll find reasons to sabotage the program or sabotage their process. They're feeling fantastic. They're ready to go and take on the world. Or they'll go into a dishonest program of compliance and just getting to the end so that they can keep people happy at home. This might have been you. If you've been in more than one treatment center, you need to look at these two. Could be a pattern of behavior in your attempts at getting clean or recovery. Self-honesty is key. Recovery by fear. I convince myself that fear of future consequences are going to be enough to keep me clean. And if that was true, there wouldn't be any addicts or alcoholics. Fear of what could happen never kept a single person sober or clean ever in the history of there being addicts and alcoholics. It's just it's a complete fantasy. Can be very formidable though. Can be very compelling. And we hear it in step work, and we hear it in group shares, and we hear it in people's dialogue all the time, and often around relationships. You know, I can't lose this relationship. I can't lose this job. I have to do this. I have to get this right. I can't lose these people. And the motive there is wrong. It's not a good motive. Fear of losing something or someone in the future is going to very subtly nudge you into a try harder program rather than a powerless program, a surrender program where I'm surrendering to some hard realities. One of them being that I'm absolutely powerless over this thing in my life. That if I engage with it in any way, on any level, I lose control. And the first people that are hurt are these people I'm claiming I can't lose. And very often, if this dynamic doesn't shift, and they keep this job or this relationship or this person as the reason why they need to get clean, they've turned that into a higher power, and the probability is that they're going to lose that relationship anyway, because it's not going to keep them clean. It's not going to give them the accountability that they need. It's not going to give them the connection that they need, the depth of healing. You can't turn loved ones into your higher power. It's going to fail. So recovery by fear is a fantasy. It's not going to work. Strategic hopelessness. I say to myself, since nothing works, I don't have to try. So I'm a serial relapser. I've been through lots of treatments. I know AA and NA backwards. But I've never really wanted to stop using. I've always only ever gone to please other people or to convince myself that I'm not really an addict, or in some sort of compliance, or to probably just change my consequences. Consequences are getting heavy. I convince myself I really want to get clean, but I don't really want to get clean. Let me tell you something. People that really want to get clean, they want it more than anything else in the world, that they're willing to give up relationships, even marriages, dream jobs, big jobs, to get clean. Okay? Those people get clean. Nothing's going to get in their way. Nothing's going to stop them getting clean. They'll take all the help that's been offered to them. And we see them coming. We've seen them come into the treatment center, and within a very short space of time, the energy is apparent. We can see the desperation. We call it the gift of desperation. People are willing to do anything to get clean. Sometimes people can arrive for one reason and stay for a different reason. They can arrive to please people at home, but can stay for a whole different reason. Within that time that they spend with us, the evidence that we present them about their addiction it shifts them into that space of desperation where they understand that they're powerless, that this thing is bigger than them, that it's going to take them out. Strategic hopelessness. Formidable. The democratic disease state. I have the right to destroy myself. Powerful. Where do you go with that? How do you deal with that person that's saying that to you? Who have you used this strategy with? Have you used the democratic disease state on the people around you? People around you are in extreme defensive hope. Defensive hope is a terrible place. It's a terrible space where the people around you think that they can just somehow, if they hope hard enough, that you'll change. Compliance. Let me show you what compliance looks like. Excuse me, bit graphic, but it makes the point. Gee, thank you for bringing that to my attention. Wow, I've never quite heard it put that way before. Yes, sir. 3 bags full, sir. That's compliance. We see it often in the treatment center where we used to work. I'm sure we're going to see it in EHAB as well at some point. Compliance can change, often does. Good addiction counselors can work compliance, can expose compliance, can work compliance, can shift people out of compliance. Manipulated medical license. What this means is I've gone to the doctor and I've got a prescription. And I come home and I wave that prescription around. Well, the doctor, no. Mind and mood altering chemicals. Very easy to manipulate doctors and psychiatrists and psychologists to get medication. And if you're doing that, you're not in recovery, you're not clean. What you've got to do now as part of your early recovery is to be brutally honest with your doctor and your pharmacist. When you're visiting your doctor and he's going to prescribe you medication, you've got to inform the doctor, listen, I'm a recovering alcoholic addict. Please bear that in mind when you're prescribing medication for me. When you go to the pharmacy and you've got a cold and you're ordering stuff over the counter, you've got to be accountable to the pharmacist. You've got to say, listen, I'm a recovering addict alcoholic. Please can you consider that when you're recommending medication to me over the counter? Manipulated medical license does not give you a license to use. If you're using that strategy, forget about it. You're not clean. Humor speaks for itself. We turn everything into a joke. We make everybody laugh. Good way to divert attention. Let's go into the next slide. I think we'll finish it now. There you have it. The Nile is not a river in Egypt. Probably heard that. Right. Global thinking. I'm using terms like always and never. It never works for me. I'm always the one. Okay. Do an inventory. Explore global thinking in your dialogues and in your narratives. Who are you using that with? It's a way to rationalize and justify. Oh, that should have come first. Anyway, uniqueness, thinking you are special and different. The old timers in AA and NA called it terminal uniqueness. I'm the only one that's got these problems. I'm the only one. It's a face of snobbery. We get lots of them in the treatment center, especially the older alcoholics, snobs of note. They think they're better than everybody else. They think that their problems are different and more special than others. There's a quote, I think it might be in the big book, but it's definitely an AA quote There's no creature more arrogant than an alcoholic lying in the gutter, still staring down his nose at everybody. Okay? Snobbery has been the death of many an alcoholic. They die in that snobbery. They're unable to equalize and come down to a level of humility where they can start accepting some hard realities about themselves and their addiction and what it's done. So if you feel special and different, you're not special and different. Find a way to get out of that mindset. One of the first things I'll do if you ever get into any kind of dialogue with me is, if I see the snob, I'm going to call you a snob to your face. And that will either initiate a process or give you an excuse to write me off. Avoidance by creating an uproar or distraction. Good old drama. See this in the treatment center all the time. Let's create a flippin' drama of note. Get all the energy up here, takes the attention away from me. And we do that at home. Contributes to crazy making. We can do it so much, so often. It can contribute to post-traumatic stress in our significant others. Hopelessness, helplessness speaks for itself. There's no hope. I'm helpless. I can't change. I can't do anything. Manipulative behavior. There's a joke that goes like this: how do you know when an addict is lying? Their lips are moving. Now, it sounds very condescending, but it's actually quite true. Addicts in addict mode, they've always got a plan. They're always 2, 3, 4, 5 steps ahead of everybody else, especially the significant others who are trying to challenge or confront behavior. The using addict alcoholic takes manipulative behavior next level. Next level. And it does a lot of damage. And part of your step work, if you're doing step work, if you're looking at the questions in step work, is you've got to look at how much damage your manipulation has done to your families, to your significant others. How it's absolutely shattered any trust. And in the long term, even if you manage to complete treatment and you get it right and you do it right and your motives are in the right place and your recovery is looking good and you get home, there's going to be no trust for a long time. As one thing, and I speak for myself, the thing I wanted more than anything else was for people to trust me again. And when they didn't, even when I knew I was telling the truth, even when I knew that I meant what I said, even though I knew that my life had changed, when people didn't trust me, it really hurt. Fortunately, I had good insight. I understood, but many don't. Many leave treatment expecting trust, demanding trust. Oh, don't you know? They obviously haven't looked at how manipulative they've been, how cunning, how deceitful they've been, and how much damage that's done, how that's absolutely annihilated trust. Get specific. When you're doing the step work, get specific. Give details. Explore this. reality. Compartmentalizing, a strong denial mechanism. And we see this in functional addicts and alcoholics, where I've got areas of my life that are working or appear to be working. So I haven't lost my job. I'm able to pay rent. I'm able to do this. But I'm also using heavily. I'm failing in other areas. But I'll compartmentalize it, and I'll use the successful areas to negate the non-successful areas. So because I haven't lost the job yet, or I'm able to pay my rent, I'm meeting certain responsibilities, doesn't mean I'm not an alcoholic or an addict. And give it time. Addicts and alcoholics that compartmentalize, it's only a matter of time before that's gonna fail. It will escalate. Crazy making, guilt tripping, indignation, and this is what we do to the people around us. Okay, we make the people around us feel like they're going crazy. We make them feel guilty. We make them feel crazy. They question their reality. And all these denial mechanisms are ways that we do it, and many more. Explore this. How did you make the people around you crazy? What did you do? What did you say? Find some detail so that it becomes clearer to you. Seduction. What is seduction? For the most part, seduction is the offer of something I have no intention of delivering on. And there's lots of ways we can do seduction, not only in a sexual way. Although in a sexual way can be very, very, very strong. We can use sex, we can use the promise of sex, the promise of money, the promise of material things, of attention, of love. It's powerful. How did you do this? Who did you do it with? What was the outcome? Get specific. Undoing. Earlier I was talking about defensive hope, and undoing comes from a place of defensive hope. The people around you, in a desperate attempt to try and help you, will give you affirmations. But you're so clever, you're so intelligent, you're so beautiful, you're so handsome, you're so this, you're so that. Okay? In a desperate attempt to try and fix your self-esteem, or to try and elevate your self-esteem enough that you might want to start changing, that somehow you'll magically believe that you're not the terrible person that you believe you are. Defensive hope, horrible, horrible, horrible space that people get into around us addicts and alcoholics. And what we'll do is we'll just, as they do, we undo. And it's just a crushing thing, dynamic. It just crushes them further. It's awful. Who do you do this with? How's this happened in your life? Tell a story or two in your step work. And that's it. We made it without doing another video clip, which is fantastic. Special thank you to Colin Garnett and Terence Gorski for some of the terminology and concepts used. Colin Garnett, you'll find plenty of his stuff here on ehab.k. Terence Gorski, go and Google him. He's one of the authorities on relapse prevention. He passed away recently, I think. But good stuff. Go check it out. He's got some good stuff on the internet. There you go. That's the blueprint. I've given you a blueprint on addiction denial and denial mechanisms. Homework now is you've got to go and look through that list and find common ground. Which ones of these can you identify with? You might not identify with all of them. You might identify with all of them. I can identify with all of them to one measure or another. Don't wait a week, because you'll lose all of this within a week. Go now, today, or tomorrow, the latest, after you've watched this clip, and personalize this information. It's absolutely critical. You've got to go and explore this in your life. Every denial mechanism that you identify within yourself, you'll break. You won't be able to use that strategy or that mechanism successfully anymore, because it'll be conscious. It's no longer subconscious, unconscious, because a lot of this is subconscious, unconscious. We don't have to think about denial mechanisms. They're right there, right there. We don't wake up in the morning and say, all right, I'm going to use this, and this mechanism today, or with this, and this person. We don't do that. It's right there. Okay? Go in there. Explore it. Identify it. Break it. It will significantly help you in your attempt at recovery. Because denial never fully goes away. It can reactivate at any time if we stop doing the next right thing. And if these behaviors, these patterns of behaviors, these denial mechanisms creep back in, we can recognize them. And this, and you can adapt this into your relapse awareness and prevention program. So there you go. Please feel free to email me your homework. Put it in the comments. I love hearing from people. I love interacting. I like to see how people hear and conceptualize the information. So my email, I think, is going to be, it is johnstewart@ehab.care. Quickly, last slide. Just want to say thank you. So I want to say thank you to Bethesda Retreat, which is Sober Living with a Difference, here in Plettenberg Bay, where I live. I actually work there, but I do a lot of my lectures there. So thank you, Bethesda, for the time, space, internet, love, encouragement. If you're looking for sober living, go check out the website, see if it's a good fit for you. Give us a call. I want to thank Marlene from Kubenka Brands. She helps me with my graphic design. If you want to engage with me more, if you want to get into a therapeutic process with me, come and find me at ehab.care. I'm one of the recovery coaches there. There's a good few of us there. I can recommend any one of them. Come check it out. There's some courses on there, which these videos are all a part of. And on that note, thank you for spending this time with me. Bit of a long session, but I'm sure it's helped. Let me know what you think in the comments. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button. Very important. Subscribe to our channel so that you can stay in touch with all the new content that's going to be going up on a regular basis. Take care. And my mouse has stopped working.